Now, for a few final remarks, I would like to give the floor to Jan Loop, but not after I have expressed, and I think on behalf of all of us, our gratitude to Charles and for Jan for organizing this wonderful event today. So.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Let me thank all of you for being here and making it such a wonderful day. It was really amazing. Nice people, great scholars, and very interesting papers. And I don't know, I thought I might just try to summarize, like in 5 minutes, maybe, and maybe I start just with what we've learned from Moti, or what I've kind of found is a really great inspiration also for our project we have now, where Nuria is working on, when we want to kind of map the teaching and learning of Arabic in early modern Europe, and that we really have to also take into consideration the teaching that goes on outside these institutions and outside academias, and that is kind of more informal, privately organized. I think that is very important. The day started with a panorama of Arabic teaching and learning in Holland, in Leiden, particularly with the talk of Arnold Vrolijk, who kind of showed us how religious, political, economic contexts and pressures kind of always influenced and shape and also impede and probably also hinder, but also very, very often kind of promote the study of Arabic. And I think we all are in this kind of context, and we feel them. We know that that the question of impact can sometimes be in our favor if we do study of Islamic and interaction between Europe and the Islamic world is a very fashionable topic also at the moment, and I think was probably also a reason why we were able to gain funding for this project. It was obvious that, or it's obvious that Leiden has become from the beginning a center of Arabic studies in Protestant Europe, and thanks to its great sources and also its kind of institutional kind of sources, that it became a mecca of Arabic studies, whereas other places as like Zwickau, for example, or also I made the comparison to Zurich, peripheral kind of places had difficulties which these center places would never have experienced, and it was very enlightening and to see how someone like Zechendorf would have to deal with these difficulties, and would go to great pains still to be able to follow to do his studies and to cut his own types in order to be able to publish his material, but to see how Arabic studies were hampered by the lack of sources and of institutional kind of support. But it was also interesting, I think, the focus on Zechendorf as a first figure that would use, or as a figure that would use this comparative approach to Arabic studies, and that was so important for the next 200 years. Again, in Leiden with Albert Scholtens, who's probably one of the most important exponent of this kind of comparative approach or of this kind of a comparative approach to Oriental languages and Semitic languages, and had a follower. I think in many ways Michaelis was a follower of Scholtens, isn't it? Like, the way he presents himself, or the way, so kind of, and I always saw him as a transitional figure in a way, so very kind of still deeply rooted in traditional Protestant Oriental scholarship, with this kind of a comparative approach, but then still also a very influential person for a young generation of German scholars. Very important for people like Herder, who was kind of inspired in his Sturm und Drang early years by the teaching of Michaelis. And Michaelis was a figure of someone who worked in the center and the center of Arabic studies. Aurélien Girard, who has left us already, I think, opened up the second part, which was more focusing also on the Catholic world and the Catholic side of Arabic studies. And I think it was quite obvious, and something maybe also to pursue, how different here utilitas and different needs were leading to different forms of teaching and different kind of problems encountered. So that it seems that the teaching of or the learning of vernacular or of vulgar Arabic, as they call it, became an important element, and the necessity for Roman Catholic missionary machine, which led to a decidedly different form of Arabic studies than we have in the Protestant part. Mercedes has shown the tension, I think, that is important for Spain as this frontier could be a metaphor, I think, for many of these aspects. You show this frontier situation and this tension that was there. On the one hand, Arabic was identified with the Islamic occupation and was kind of forbidden, but then on the other hand, the necessity to learn Arabic and also the importance that this Arabic past maybe also had for the Spanish identity, or not had. So to find that out, that was really great. And now we came to a beautiful end with Morty's overview over the history of Arabic studies in the UK or in England. And as I said, I think for me that was really an important point made for our future project, or for the project we have to now pursue, that we really maybe also look outside, more closely outside the institutions. I thank you all very, very much. I would also like to mention Lord Brouwer again, who helped me a lot with organizing this conference, Arnold Frohlich as well.